Life is a mystery that has changed the very meaning of this universe for us. After billions of years of the universe's existence, we came into being and started to think that perhaps this entire universe was made just for us. But the truth is that we haven't even been able to understand the beginning of our own life. After all, where did this come from and in which direction are we actually moving forward? To understand life, we started observing the planets present in our solar system and those outside it. And that's when we saw a very strange world. A place where rivers flow, lakes shimmer, and clouds rain down from the sky, but there isn't a single drop of water there. That may sound strange. Yes, this world is exactly like that. This is Saturn's largest moon, Titan. It is the only celestial body in our solar system that we know about that has liquid present on its surface in a completely stable condition, but that liquid is not water, it's methane and ethane. Scientists thought that understanding the possibility of life on Titan would be easy, but we saw something on its surface that surprised everyone. Till today, we haven't found any clear evidence on Titan that can explain the presence of life. What does this mysterious world of Titan really want to tell us? Titan, the largest moon of Saturn, is a wonder in our solar system. Its size is bigger than our moon and it's even larger than the smallest planet, Mercury. But what really makes Titan special is its atmosphere, orbiting around Saturn. Titan's atmosphere is so dense that it is even thicker than Earth's atmosphere and it contains abundant nitrogen and methane. This atmosphere has given Titan a mysterious haze, making it very difficult to see its surface from above. Scientists wanted to know what could be beneath this mysterious world. And finally, to uncover this, NASA's Cassini-Huygens mission arrived there in 2004. Cassini revealed the presence of lakes, rivers, and seas on Titan's surface. Seeing such a sight, the scientists were left stunned. They couldn't believe that they had discovered such an object, where rivers flow and liquid oceans also exist. But all of this was not made of water. Instead, liquid methane and ethane are present here the way water does on Earth. Scientists thought that these liquids on Titan might give rise to the most essential chemical processes for life. Organic molecules like hydrocarbons are also found in abundance on Titan, which could be the basic building blocks for life. But now, a big question was troubling the scientists. If there are so many liquids and organic compounds present on Titan, then why haven't we found any clear signs of life there till now? If we look at Earth, when rivers meet the sea or lakes, deltas are formed there. These are the areas where the river's sediment gets deposited. These deltas are evidence of the flow of rivers and the materials carried by them. On Titan, we do find rivers and lakes, but surprisingly, scientists have noticed that Titan's rivers often end abruptly. Without any delta formation. The lack of delta data on Titan has become a big mystery for scientists. The lack of deltas could mean that Titan's rivers are not as active as we thought. That means these rivers don't flow, they just stand still. Or maybe the geological processes there are completely different from those on our Earth. For example, the temperature on Titan's surface is very low. It's about minus 180 degrees Celsius, and in such cold conditions, the flow of methane and ethane can't be as fast as the rivers on Earth. It is also possible that Titan's rivers are seasonal, flowing only for a certain period of time, and they don't get enough time to deposit sediment. Or it could also be that Titan's surface composition is so unique that it either doesn't allow delta formation to happen at all, or it stops it from occurring. The possibility of life on Titan wasn't all that surprising to us, because we saw something on Titan that we hadn't found anywhere else. Scientists were sure that even if there wasn't life like ours on Titan, we would likely find some other kind of life form there, carbon-based life. If not, then silicon-based. Titan's dense atmosphere makes it hard to see or study its surface from space. That means if we really want to understand Titan well, it's necessary for us to actually land on its surface. Meanwhile, when we got closer, Cassini's radar and infrared instruments told us a lot, but its resolution was limited. The Huygens probe landed on Titan's surface in 2005 and did send us some data, but it was only active for a few hours. To search for life, we need to understand how chemical reactions actually work on Titan. On Earth, life evolved around water, but on Titan, liquid methane and ethane take the place of water. Can biochemical processes occur in these liquids? Scientists have shown in laboratory experiments that complex organic molecules can form in methane and ethane, but we still don't know how complex these processes can be. The level of radiation on Titan's surface is extremely high because it is present in Saturn's magnetosphere, which is filled with high-energy particles. This radiation can destroy biological molecules, which really reduces the chances of life. The presence of organic molecules on Titan's surface definitely makes it a good candidate for the search for life. But the absence of deltas and the complex structure of its surface have puzzled scientists. Landscapes like dunes, mountains, and canyons are present on Titan's surface, which are quite similar to those on Earth, but these have been formed by the flow of methane and ethane. Scientists believe that cryovolcanism may also occur on Titan, but how does it work on Titan? And it is playing a major role in keeping Titan active. We still need to learn more about this. The density of Titan's surface is very low and it is mostly made up of organic materials and ice. This means that Titan's surface could be much lighter and more fragile compared to Earth's. Because of this, river sediment may not settle there as easily, or it is so light that the winds blowing there carry it away. Cassini's data also revealed that wind patterns on Titan are very strong, which can spread sediment over a large area, which prevents the formation of deltas. To unravel Titan's mysteries, NASA has planned the Dragonfly mission, which will reach Titan in 2034. It will be a drone-like rotorcraft that will fly over Titan's surface and study a large area. Dragonfly's target is to deeply investigate the organic molecules and chemical processes present on Titan's surface and in its atmosphere. This mission will provide mobility on Titan's surface, allowing scientists to easily study its different terrains. Dragonfly's instruments will include a mass spectrometer and meteorological sensors, which will help in understanding Titan's atmosphere and its surface composition. Dragonfly will also investigate whether prebiotic chemistry exists on Titan, meaning the chemical processes that are necessary for the origin of life. If Dragonfly finds evidence of deltas on Titan, it will be a major step in understanding the behavior of Titan's rivers. Along with that, this mission will also deeply study Titan's methane cycle, which is similar to Earth's water cycle. Titan's surface is a puzzle that has made scientists think deeply. There are rivers here, but without deltas. The abundant presence of organic molecules and an active methane cycle, but still, there are no clear signs of life here. All of this makes Titan the most mysterious body in our solar system. Is life possible on Titan, or is it just a world where chemical processes are still not sufficient to start life? The Dragonfly mission might answer these questions. Currently, the main aim of our emerging technologies and space agencies is to establish sustainable habitats on celestial bodies like Mars. The main challenge there is to adapt support systems and resource use to harsh extraterrestrial environments, where innovations in propulsion, terraforming, and self-sustaining ecosystems play an important role in facing these challenges. Such colonization can reduce the risk of being completely dependent on Earth and can further expand humanity's presence in the universe. Not only that, it can also promote scientific progress, and it can help ensure our species' survival in the face of unexpected challenges on our home planet. Friends, the search for interplanetary habitats. It is a symbol of humanity's resilience, curiosity, and determination to reach beyond our astronomical boundaries. The colonization of Titan, one of Saturn's moons, has also long been a subject of fascination and speculation for scientists. As humanity pushes the boundaries of space exploration, the possibilities of establishing a colony on Titan are also becoming increasingly interesting. So, will this possibility become a reality one day? What is the potential future of a Titan colony, and what challenges might we face in this process? A unique combination of organic compounds and the presence of liquid hydrocarbon lakes make it an attractive target for further exploration. One of the primary motivations for exploring Titan is the possibility of searching for extraterrestrial life. However, due to Titan's cold temperatures and the lack of liquid water on its surface, traditional life is not possible there. However, scientists believe that microbial life could still exist in the moon's subsurface oceans. And if this is confirmed, this discovery will have a profound impact on our understanding of the origin and prevalence of life in the universe. Titan's atmosphere is dense, primarily composed of nitrogen with traces of methane and ethane. In fact, its atmosphere is even denser than Earth's, although Titan's gravity is quite weak. Apart from Earth, Titan is the only celestial body in our solar system where stable bodies of liquid have been found on its surface. However, these are not water bodies, but rather lakes and rivers of liquid methane and ethane. Titan is a subject of interest for scientists because its atmosphere and surface contain complex organic molecules. Scientists call these molecules the building blocks of life, and studying them helps us understand early Earth and the possibility of life elsewhere in the universe. What we know about Titan comes from Cassini, a NASA spacecraft that studied Saturn and its moons. Cassini carried out this mission. A probe named Huygens successfully landed on Titan's surface in 2005, providing very valuable data about its structure and environment. Radar observations of Titan's seas have revealed many mysterious features, valuable data, and some things that have disappeared. This led scientists to speculate that changes in liquid levels are caused by waves or bubbles. Let me tell you, Titan's surface is extremely cold, where the temperature is around minus 290 degrees Fahrenheit. Titan is considered a prebiotic environment, which means it has the necessary conditions for the formation of prebiotic molecules. But it lacks liquid water. Scientists show interest in studying Titan to understand those processes that could lead to the development of life or its building blocks in environments different from Earth. So along with this, establishing a colony on Titan will bring many challenges, such as its extreme cold temperature, as we understand human colonization. Friends, establishing a colony on Titan will face many challenges, such as the temperature there, which is minus 189 degrees Celsius. We will need advanced thermal insulation and heating systems to go there. Apart from this, due to the lack of a breathable atmosphere, it will also be necessary to build a pressurized environment for human habitation. Because of the limited sunlight on the moon's surface, innovative solutions will also be needed to provide electricity to the Titan colony. There, nuclear power plants or the moon's methane lakes can be used as fuel sources. There, efficient energy production will be important to maintain the life support system and to make scientific research convenient. Ensuring a stable air and water supply will also be very essential for the existence of the Titan colony. Friends, as we all know, Titan's atmosphere has a lot of nitrogen, it lacks oxygen. Because of this, a closed-loop life support system will be needed. Friends, Titan will require a system to recycle breathable air. there will also be a need to establish a reliable food production system. Sunlight can be harvested on Titan. Due to the absence and limited space for traditional agriculture on Titan, alternative methods like hydroponics and aeroponics can be used. Combined with advanced LED lighting systems, these soilless farming techniques can provide a resource for growing crops in a controlled environment. Maintaining communication and connectivity with Earth will also be very important for the Titan colony. Considering the vast distance between Titan and Earth, traditional radio transmission will experience significant delays. Therefore, to establish a dedicated communication network, there will be a need for relay satellites or advanced laser communication systems. This will help control the mission, ensure reliable communication, and enable real-time data transmission. The Titan colony will actually serve as a scientific research and exploration center. Friends, Titan's unique geology, hydrocarbon lakes, and atmospheric conditions provide a unique opportunity to study planetary processes and astrobiology. Robotic missions and human exploration of Titan's surface and subsurface can provide valuable insights into the moon's history and a wide area of planetary science. Scientific research will also greatly help us understand what important economic aspects could be involved in the colonization of Titan. The extraction and use of methane and other hydrocarbon resources can serve as a valuable resource for fuel in space exploration missions. In addition, various industries on Earth could also gain additional benefits from advanced technologies and basic infrastructure developed for the Titan colony. As with any attempt related to the colonization of celestial bodies, ethical considerations should also be taken into account. Preserving Titan's ancient environment and ensuring the responsible use of its resources will be extremely important for us. International cooperation and adherence to an ethical framework will be important in guiding the development and operations of the Titan colony. Let me tell you, the future of the Titan colony holds immense possibilities for scientific discovery, space exploration, and possibly even for human existence away from Earth. However, any challenges in this endeavor should be addressed. The collective efforts of scientists, engineers, and policymakers can accomplish this ambitious mission. It is possible that to survive a major disaster on Earth, we may have to migrate to Mars. So in such a situation, how will so many people breathe on Mars? We all know that if anyone even accidentally tries to breathe in the atmosphere there without the oxygen supply of a spacesuit, then it would be instantly fatal, meaning instant death. He will die right there. Because the atmospheric pressure on Mars is very low, and in such conditions the blood of any astronaut would start to boil. The eyes will pop out and it will be a very painful end. So the big question is, will we ever be able to breathe in the atmosphere of Mars? Hello friends, you are watching Documentary Library and I am your friend Shashi. In today's video, we are going to introduce you to the biggest problem facing the future colonies of Mars. So first of all, we need to understand Mars and its atmosphere. We call Mars the red planet, while our Earth appears blue from space, but there is another big difference between these two planets. Yes, there is life here on Earth. There are people who can feel the air. From children playing in the soil and getting drenched in the rain to the elderly, animals, and plant life, all of this keeps life going here. But on the other hand, Mars is completely barren and desolate. The reason for this huge difference between the two planets is their atmosphere. Yes, both planets have their own atmosphere. It's a different matter that Mars's atmosphere is thousands of times thinner than Earth's. It's all because of the atmosphere. Here on Earth, water is present, while on Mars, the water has disappeared somewhere. But here, we are talking about breathing in the atmosphere. So, what is it about Earth that allows us to breathe here without any trouble? The answer is that on Earth, there is 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 1% argon, and 0.04% carbon dioxide. Apart from this, traces of some other gases can also be found here in small amounts. On the other hand, the atmosphere of Mars mainly contains 95% carbon dioxide, 3% nitrogen, and 1.6% argon. There are also traces of oxygen, carbon monoxide, water, methane, and some other gases found in the atmosphere. Strong winds blow on Mars, and there are very large dust storms. Sometimes these storms are so massive that they engulf the entire planet, but this dust becomes our biggest problem. They can become impossible to breathe in. But that's not our main problem here. We can filter out the dust particles one way or another. The main problem is something else. The lack of oxygen on Mars means we can't survive without it, and it's not possible for us to keep supplying oxygen to Mars from Earth continuously. This is neither a practical solution nor an economical one. On Earth, oxygen is abundant. It makes up about 21% of the total atmospheric gases, but on Mars, it's barely 0.13%. That's a very small percentage. Everyone has their own ideas about how to tackle this challenge. Some scientists and engineers are coming up with very creative ideas. One idea coming forward is to build large biomes on Mars that mimic Earth's atmosphere. This way, we can extract oxygen and make Mars more habitable. Although this idea sounds very creative and good, implementing it in reality is extremely difficult. So, in the future, will people living on Mars be able to breathe in the open air? Let's first learn about some methods that are possible to implement. One way is to use the carbon dioxide that makes up 95% of Mars's atmosphere. That means in situ resource utilization, which means surviving by using the resources available in the local areas of the mission destination instead of sending supplies from Earth. So for this, first we have to collect carbon dioxide-rich air from the Martian atmosphere. We have already made devices for this task. The next step in the process will be to send this collected air into the reactor, where a chemical transformation will take place inside the reactor. Oxygen molecules will be separated from carbon dioxide, and after that the extracted oxygen will be stored in separate tanks. From this reservoir, the entire Martian colonies will receive it. Oxygen will be supplied, and in this way, Martian habitats will fulfill their oxygen needs. This will not only provide oxygen to the Martian colonies, but it will also eliminate the hassle of carrying oxygen from Earth. But everyone will have to pay the price for the challenges and dangers that come with it. The cost of maintaining and protecting the oxygen reservoirs will have to be borne by the people living there. And that's why Martians will have to pay the price for every single breath. But the advantage is that this will make Martian colonies more sustainable. Their dependence on Earth will decrease. Besides this, the water ice present at the poles of Mars can also be used to produce oxygen. The process of extracting oxygen from water molecules is called electrolysis, and on Earth we already perform this process quite efficiently. But on Mars, we will have to carry out this process on a much larger scale. First of all, we will need to build bases at the Martian poles. There, water ice will first be extracted using drilling or mining. Then, that ice will be placed in a device called an electrolyzer, and current will be applied to it. With the electric current, the oxygen and hydrogen molecules in the water will be completely separated. There are two major benefits to this process. First, we will get pure oxygen, which we can send to Martian colonies, and the second benefit is the pure hydrogen we will get. We can store it and use it as fuel as well. This will solve our two biggest problems. The first is oxygen and the second is fuel. So these were the different ways to artificially produce oxygen. But we know that there is also a natural way to convert carbon dioxide into oxygen, and that is through plants. Yes, plants use carbon dioxide and sunlight to produce oxygen and glucose, and this process is called photosynthesis. But for this, we will have to create an ecosystem on Mars where plants will be introduced in the early stages. But this method is not reliable. Dust storms on Mars block sunlight, or sometimes due to seasonal changes. If we don't get sunlight there, or if the plants are damaged due to some disease, then the entire Martian colony will be be at risk. It can be used along with other methods. Our ecosystem on Mars will be completely closed, and any kind of leakage can become a huge risk. That's why the air circulation system will be worked on very carefully. Apart from this, for outdoor activities, a special spacesuit will be used, which will have oxygen storage tanks. There will be oxygen charging stations at the location to recharge the oxygen tanks of the spacesuit, where they can refill their oxygen tanks. It may look like something out of a sci-fi movie, but here no one can roam around carefree here. Maybe if you take a deep breath when you're tired, you might have to pay a fine. Who knows what the future will be like? But yes, one thing is certain. Right now, we don't have any technology that would allow us to breathe on Mars. For now, even going to Mars is a distant dream for us. Well friends, interplanetary travel and space exploration are not new concepts for humans since the dawn of humanity. Our eyes have been gazing at these planets and stars in space. In such a situation, this effort of ours could end this entire era and mark the beginning of a new age. Let's talk. If we talk about Starship, it's not just a rocket or a spaceship, but a giant spacecraft. Amazingly, it can carry around 100 astronauts from Earth to Mars in a single trip. This spacecraft has all the facilities for those 100 astronauts to live, eat, drink, and survive. Just imagine a 9-month-long journey from Earth to Mars with a team of 100 travelers. How thrilling that would be. During this time, there will be many challenges along the way, and there will be moments when we will witness those historic events that will be remembered for centuries to come. Well, leaving all these thoughts aside, let me give you a tour of our magnificent spaceship, Starship. This is not just a spacecraft, it's a symbol of our hopes, our ambitions, and our courage. This spacecraft will take us toward unknown worlds, to places where no human has set foot yet. Well, Starship is equipped with those 34 Raptor engines which are capable of pushing us straight from the Earth's surface into space. Therefore, for its launch, SpaceX's own Falcon Heavy rocket will be used. This entire journey will be planned in advance by calibrating the distance and time. That means it will only be launched from Earth when Mars is closest to Earth. In other words, when it will take the least amount of time to get there. But even this shortest journey will still be at least 395 million kilometers long. It will take us at least 6 months to cover this distance. Now you might be wondering how these astronauts will live in this Starship for the next 6 months, what their daily routine will be, and what facilities will be provided to them inside this spacecraft. Well, Elon Musk and the SpaceX team are especially focused on making sure that the astronauts aboard the Starship never get bored during this long space journey. This Starship is nothing like an ordinary rocket or space shuttle. Rather, it is huge, futuristic, and advanced, just like the spaceships shown in sci-fi movies. It will have viewing galleries for the astronauts to enjoy the beautiful views of space. These sights will truly be amazing. Our Martians will be able to enjoy these views while sitting at their dining table. For food, this Starship will have its own autonomous farm or kitchen where fresh vegetables can be both grown and prepared. Not only that, if any passenger wants to relax, about 40 rooms have been built in the payload bay of the Starship, in which 2 to 3 astronauts can easily lie down. Apart from this, all the amenities that you find in a 5-star hotel on Earth are also available here. Anyway, this Starship is not just famous for these things, but it's also in the news for another reason, and that is the structure of this Starship. To build it, 301 stainless steel has been used, which has a melting point of around 1500 degrees Celsius, which is much higher than commonly used carbon fiber and aluminum alloy, and in terms of cost, it's cost less than half as much as they do. That means you get both strength and affordability as well. Behind this is Elon Musk's vision, and that thought is to make space travel affordable. Now, of course, it won't become as affordable as buying vegetables in the market, but it will fit into the budget of the world's top 5 richest people. In this regard, the use of reusable rockets and cheap yet durable space programs has always been the identity of SpaceX. Now, before we move forward in the journey, let's find out which modules Starship is made up of. This is SpaceX's iconic Starship, which is currently in a horizontal position. If we look at its cross-sectional view, we can see it from top to bottom. It has a total of 4 fuel tanks, including 2 large methane and oxygen tanks and 2 smaller oxygen and methane tanks. These will be used for soft landing on Mars. During landing, since such large tanks will be empty, it will help maintain a horizontal position. The part of the spacecraft you are seeing right now is its service module. It will have viewing galleries, rooms, a kitchen, farms, and all the areas where the astronauts will stay. Along with that, in the lower section, there is a cargo bay which will contain all the equipment, supplies, and machines necessary for colonization of Mars and setting up a base there. Anyway, now you are well acquainted with this Starship and its composition. Let's now begin our journey, for which this gigantic spacecraft has been built. Right now, the astronauts you see moving forward on this ramp. In fact, these are the first humans who will set foot on the surface of Mars. These are the chosen few who have undergone rigorous training to go to Mars. And along with that, they have also taken up the responsibility of sowing the seeds of humanity there. The sparkle in these astronauts' eyes, their confidence, and their strong determination fill us with pride. They know that this journey is not just theirs, but it belongs to all of humanity. All those travelers have been sent to the service module of this Starship by riding in this lift. All the necessary checks and inspections have also been performed before the launch, and only after meeting every requirement does this spacecraft get the green signal to launch. As soon as the mission director sitting in the control center pulled this lever on his control panel, the launch sequence began. With the countdown of 10, 9, 8, 7, the moment we've all been waiting for has arrived. This countdown isn't just counting time, it's the beginning of the flight of our dreams. With a loud roaring sound and the ground trembling, this Starship heads towards the sky and leaves behind a lot of smoke and questions. The questions whose answers we will get only when this spacecraft lands on Mars. Today we have taken a step forward, but this is just the beginning. In this endless journey of countless miles through space, our hopes and dreams are with us, because this is not just a spacecraft, it's the flight of our future. Join us on this amazing journey where there are no boundaries, only infinite possibilities. This is the Starship mission, the flight of our future. Moving forward on this long journey is truly exciting. However, along with this excitement, many dangers and risks are also waiting for us. Who knows, during this calm and enjoyable journey, we might encounter some unexpected danger. Now, in such a vast space, tracking the wandering rocks and comets here and there is an extremely difficult task. Still, every little thing that comes in the path of the spacecraft is tracked. To make this journey safe and sound, the onboard computers continuously scan for nearby passing objects and potential hurdles. And when needed, maneuvers are also performed by firing the engines, so the journey can remain smooth and our spacecraft does not sustain any damage. Well, hopefully all the systems installed in this spacecraft will work properly. Because of them, everything will go according to plan. There won't be any problems. Even if any problem arises, our warriors will be fully prepared to deal with it. During this time, the spacecraft will remain constantly connected to the mission control room on Earth. For this, NASA's Deep Space Network will be used. It's a network of satellites that maintains a strong connection even with faraway points in deep space. And from here, the next 180 days of this journey will pass in complete peace and comfort. And finally, after a very long and difficult journey, when this Starship gets close to Mars, a red shadow will be visible from a distance, which can be seen from these galleries. With every passing second, our Starship will get closer and closer to Mars, and finally, the moment will arrive when the 100 passengers on board will face the moment of truth. That moment, when all their dreams and ambitions seem about to become reality. Yes, this is the final stage of the Starship's journey. As it prepares for its grand landing on Mars, its landing sequence begins. During this time, this spacecraft is surrounded by flames due to the intense pressure and friction caused by the atmosphere. But unlike other spacecraft, parachutes will not be used to reduce its speed. Its Raptor engines will produce downward thrust to reduce its speed so much that it will become almost negligible, and after that, it will make a soft landing at its landing site, and this journey will end here in this way. Mars has always been a subject of exploration for humans. The bright red color of this red sphere used to scare us, but its mysterious appearance inspired us to uncover the secrets buried within it. That's why we've had our eyes set on Mars for many centuries. Mars has also given us many moments in the past when we experienced both wonder and curiosity at the same time. Today, humans see Mars as their future, their existence on Earth, and their struggle here. We will find out. Stay tuned to learn about this futuristic concept of terraforming and colonization. In this video, by the very end, Mars is going to become the destination of our dreams and the reality of tomorrow. So then, why not take a closer look at this barren Mars today? Because after this, the era of gas planets begins. Mars is a solid planet. Its surface is mostly made of iron, nickel, and sulfur. That's why its color is deep red. However, the temperature of its surface is quite low, contrary to its color. Mars has an average surface temperature of minus 63 degrees Celsius. It is a planet with polar regions. Its atmosphere is less than 1% as dense as Earth's, and that's why you don't feel any air pressure on its surface. The composition of Mars's atmosphere: mostly it contains 95.3% carbon dioxide, 2.6% nitrogen, and the remaining 0.1% includes gases like oxygen and argon. As far as the presence of water on Mars is concerned, scientists are still uncertain about it. Our research on Mars has proven that Mars actually had an atmosphere, whether it was flowing water on its surface or wind blowing through its skies. The oxygen present, the form of life we see on Earth today, perhaps once existed on Mars as well. All those conditions, all those factors that provide a favorable environment for life to breathe might have already existed on Mars in the past, but over time, some changes occurred here that completely destroyed the planet's biological system, wiped out living beings, and dried up the flowing rivers, turning them into dry channels. Scientists believe that we can once again revive the atmosphere of Mars, that we can bring back the life that once perished here. To do this, we will have to go through a long and extensive process. We will need more money, resources, and technology, and perhaps even more than that. We will need a visionary person who is interested in making this dream come true, and maybe that person already exists. Yes, we are talking about SpaceX is working day and night on it. But Musk and his SpaceX are way ahead of everyone else in this race. SpaceX practically has plans to go to Mars. They have the resources needed to send humans to Mars, and SpaceX also has a complete plan to settle them there. More than this, the shortest distance between Earth and Mars is 9 million miles. Both Earth and Mars revolve around the Sun in an elliptical orbit. Because of this, the distance between them keeps decreasing and increasing. About every 2.5 years, these two planets reach their closest point to each other. At such a time, it is a golden opportunity to send any spacecraft to Mars. This 3 to 8 day launch window gives us easy access to Mars. During this period, spacecraft launched reach Mars orbit in the least amount of time and with minimal fuel consumption. This journey takes about 8 months, during which the spacecraft, after leaving Earth's orbit, has to travel through deep space for the next 250 days. Then one day, the view of this red planet will appear from the window of that rocket, and in the next 1.5 hours, this mission will go through its toughest phase. This is the landing sequence. SpaceX's Starship will make a vertical landing in this manner, and from here, the battle for survival begins. Actually, in this fleet of starships, there will be a team of the first Martian settlers. These will be the first humans who will dedicate their lives to making Mars habitable for humans. It's possible that their journey to Mars will be one way. That means they may never be able to return to Earth, or they might get a chance to come back after many years. Well, whatever their fate may be, they are here to face the challenges that lie ahead. They will be fully prepared for this. First, they will have to set up a base unit. This is the first step of Martian colonization. Under this, shelters will be built here where farming will be done. This human civilization that has gone to settle on Mars will have to become completely self-sufficient. First, they will have to arrange their own food, and then for their daily needs, they will have to manage water. All of this will have to be done by these Martian settlers themselves. Of course, for the first few years, they will keep getting food and water supplies from Earth, but once all these things are arranged there, this supply will also be stopped. Some green chambers have been created where heat, light, and water are all provided in a controlled and limited environment. As a result of this experiment, scientists found very well-grown vegetables. They grew many crops like potatoes, tomatoes, carrots, wheat, and grass, and they all grew very well. Now about food. All the nitrogen needed to grow crops on Mars are present. But here is the good news, and that is human waste, that is poop, contains a lot of nitrogen. If we somehow kill the pathogens in the Martians' waste, which is possible by exposing it to the freezing temperatures of Mars, then we will actually have a way to make organic fertilizer as well. And as far as arranging water here is concerned, that method is also very simple. Actually, the oxygen and hydrogen that we have been using as jet fuel until now will now help us make water. How? Again, here we will use simple chemistry. We know that when we combine hydrogen and oxygen gases, as a result, we get water, meaning H2O. So in this way, we will arrange water in the initial phase. But when we have to do this on a large scale, where will we get so much oxygen and hydrogen gas from? Don't worry, there is a solution to this doubt as well. By the time we reach this stage of Martian habitation, we will have developed enough resources. Now we will be completely ready to launch our mega projects here. Yes, we are talking about terraforming, a mission under which Mars will be artificially heated up so that the global temperature of Mars will start to rise. And here all those changes will come, which in the future will help the seeds of life sprout on the barren surface of Mars. In this sequence, a massive mission will be carried out on Mars under which huge glass panels will be deployed here. These are extremely large pieces of glass. They will reflect the sunlight coming from the sun towards the atmosphere of Mars so that this heat will remain trapped on Mars itself. During this time, the carbon dioxide gas present on Mars will accelerate this process even more. Along with this, work on Mars's atmosphere will also be underway at the same time. According to our knowledge, several 100,000 years ago, when Mars lost its magnetosphere, it destroyed its atmosphere in a single blow. Today, the atmosphere of Mars is extremely thin and light. This is the reason why it is not effective in retaining the heat it receives from the sun. But when this atmosphere has been fully restored, we will be able to clearly observe this phenomenon there. By the time we reach this stage, our Martian colony will have developed quite a lot. By now, humans would have established permanent settlements and started living on Mars. During this time, the first group of Martian settlers would have either died or, after becoming very old, returned to Earth. For now, here, the second and third generations would be working. By this point, almost all the changes we had in mind when we started our work here on Mars would have already taken place. As far as terraforming is concerned, it's possible that this process will continue in the same way for a few more years. After heating up Mars, healing its environment, and the birth of an active water cycle on Mars, the circulation of oxygen has also started in its suffocating atmosphere. Until then, humans will have to live on Mars just like they did on their first day here. That means they still can't roam freely on the surface of Mars. They will have to wear pressurized suits. And along with that, we still depend on artificial systems for oxygen as well. Happier and less. Hundreds of years later, some pandemics will also try to wipe out human civilization from our planet. That means with each passing day, our life on Earth is reaching a point where we will have only two options. Either we continue like this on Earth, or it might not be easy to accept, but it's the truth. One day, we will have to leave this Earth, and we need to start preparing for that right now, because we don't have any time left. But leaving Earth and going to another planet won't be easy either. We will find exactly how many people will we need to build a new civilization? And suppose we build a colony beyond Earth, then what problems will human civilization have to face there? How will all of them survive there, so far from home and without any support? These are the answers to all such questions. Hello friends, I'm your friend Shashi, and today's video will take you into a future world where we are struggling to survive on Mars. Yes, the planet Mars. This is the only such planet close to Earth and the 7th largest in our solar system. Yes, it is said that even though today this planet is completely cold and deserted like an endless desert, there was a time when it was different. Millions of years ago, rivers used to flow here just like they do on Earth. The rising waves of the ocean used to try to touch the shores, and perhaps there was life here too. Because of some mysterious circumstances, everything here was destroyed. But can we humans make everything here like it was before? By the way, it's not a bad idea, and we humans have been thinking about it for a long time. Because compared to searching for another planet outside the solar system and settling there, going to Mars would be more economical. It's also close by, and even if we don't know everything about it, we definitely know a lot. SpaceX has also claimed that they are building such interplanetary spacecraft that will be able to take at least 100 people to Mars. The owner of the company, Elon Musk, says that they are building a fleet of such spacecraft, which will keep delivering resources from Earth to the Martians for some time. But in the end, can these fantasies really be implemented in the real world? If you look at it, to a large extent, they cannot. Because before going to Mars or establishing a human settlement there, we will have to think deeply about many issues. There are many issues that need to be solved, such as the intense radiation there, toxic soil, low gravity, low temperature, and more. There are many kinds of problems there, like severe dust storms and how to deal with them. We should have a plan for this before we get there, and this will just be the beginning. It will take us decades to build a vehicle that can land properly on Mars and also return to Earth. Coming back is also important because no one would want to get stuck in that cold red desert just for the sake of fantasies, especially billions of kilometers away from Earth. But let's take a journey today, a thought experiment in which we imagine that everything is perfect. And we've finally decided that we're going to colonize Mars, so how will things work there? Let's find out. Recently, scientists published a study whose topic was the minimum number of people required to settle on other planets. Jean-Marc Salotti published this study in the Scientific Reports journal on June 16, 2020. In this, they tried to find out how we can colonize a new planet. How many resources would we need there? How will the colony function? Who will lead it? How will people work there? And how much time will all this take? And most importantly, how many people will we need to sustain ourselves there? So let's try to find the answers to all these questions based on this study. Now imagine that you have arrived in a wonderful future. That won't happen since the study's author says Earth's future will be terrifying, so frightening that just thinking about it scares everyone. Artificial intelligence will definitely be there, and so will wars fought by us humans. After that, our only options will be to settle on Mars or some other planet. And unfortunately, if that happens, forget about coming back to Earth or getting supplies from Earth, because at that time, Earth itself will be struggling for its own survival. Now, the settlers who leave for another planet will have to manage everything on their own somehow. And in such circumstances, we will face some other problems as well. For example, we don't know how well the people in the colony will be able to work together. What effect will the conditions there have on their mental state? Will they communicate like normal humans even there? Will they also want to share their time and resources with others there? One thing is certain, we humans are experts at ruining our own things, whether it's because of greed or the hunger for power. That's why we need to focus on organizational issues before going to Mars. We need to figure out which equipment we'll need there, how will resources be extracted there, what skills will we need there. But there's one more thing, we're leaving Earth in a panic, so we won't have much time to think about all these things. We won't have the chance to prepare for decades, and we also won't have a large amount of initial resources and equipment, and the human factor is so unpredictable that you can't plan it step by step. A person reacts differently according to situations, and their behavior also keeps changing. That's why going to another planet, settling there, and our chances of survival there are very low. But if we want to save human civilization, then we will have to survive somehow. And in this case, Jean-Marc has explained some things very well that will have a deep impact on our survival. However, these are just variables in mathematical equations, in which the first variable is the availability of local resources, meaning where are we going to settle. For example, on Mars, how many resources will be available for us there? Like water, oxygen, and other useful chemical elements. These resources should not only be easily available on that planet, but they should also be easy to use. And here, our biggest good fortune is that we won't have to start this work from scratch. We already know a lot about Mars. We know what conditions are like on Mars, which resources will be available there, and how we can extract and use them for research, agriculture, and industrial production. What is available for us there on Mars? Where are we going and what dangers are waiting for us in that unknown world? We have known this for a long time. For example, we know that from the atmosphere of Mars we can extract gases, and from the ground we can extract minerals. On Mars, we will easily find iron, glass, and even organic compounds. But here, the biggest problem we will face is the service life of the equipment we'll start with on Mars. We will need our equipment and tools, production capacity, or the speed of work. we will have a list of equipment and a deadline after which all those equipment will break down, and the settlers will have to do enough work within that deadline so that they can remake those equipment and also produce some useful products. If that doesn't happen, then they won't be able to survive there. Imagine that each settler is trying to survive on Mars on their own. All those people are doing their own work themselves, trying to build the whole system on their own. Everyone is working to produce their own separate water, oxygen, and electricity. How difficult is this for us humans? They should work like a part of a machine so that the whole system keeps running. The colony shouldn't be so small that it can't even meet its own needs. And it shouldn't be so big that the colony collapses because of its own needs. So for this, we will need a balanced number of Martian settlers, and now we have to calculate that number. This will depend on the resources available on Mars, the weather there, and many other factors as well. But from a broader perspective, we can also calculate this number using a mathematical function. The article describes 5 areas to calculate this number: ecosystem management, energy production, industry, buildings, and human factor. For example, we will have to send experts for each area, such as some who are skilled in managing the ecosystem, some who are experts in energy production, some who will handle industrial production, some people will develop infrastructure, and for the human factor, doctors, teachers for children's education, and some experts for sports and music will also be sent. It means that everything necessary to run a different world will have to be sent to Mars, and according to the calculations, that number comes out to be 110 people. Yes, 110 people will be needed to build a new colony on Mars so that they can always survive there, not more and not less than this. The more people there are, the harder it becomes to predict the outcome. This is a rough estimate which includes some assumptions and some uncertainties as well. No plan is perfect, but still, this number will be very useful for us. Now Veganic knows how many people they will have to send to Mars in the first attempt. But now the question is, if in the beginning people will live on Mars in a colony of 110 people, will we have to build a lot of colonies there? If that happens, then we humans will start fighting among ourselves for resources there. And we already said in the beginning that we humans are very good at messing things up. Anyway, there are many more questions besides this. Like, what will happen to the rest of the billions of people who are our own people, who are just like us and who will stay here on Earth? Will a handful of people leave billions of humans to die just to preserve human civilization? This question will definitely come to all our minds. Anyway, it will still take decades for this to become a reality, and it could even take hundreds of years. Going to another planet is fine too, and so are colonizing and terraforming. But for now, the right thing is to save our planet until we find a better option. Friends, what do you think about this? Do let us know in the comments section. Friends, if you like this video, please like it and share it with your friends. For more such informative videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and enable the bell notification. Friends, we'll see you again soon with another informative video like this. Till then, stay curious, be happy, and goodbye.